The nurses here have dictator-like power. I tried to speak up for myself, but the head nurse just said over and over again, she's too busy for anything else to happen. If you don't play the game, you don't get to leave. Hi. Um, this is a different format than I've done uh, previously, and it's probably going to be hard to share this. Hi. Um, this is a different format than I've done uh, previously, and it's probably going to be hard to share this. I don't know for sure that I will. I feel anxious about it. But I wrote out some things, and honestly, there's a lot more to say. So this might become a series. I'm also kind of starting in the middle, so maybe in another video I will start at the beginning, or do the end, maybe some prequels or something. Um, let's get started. I'm going to read a lot of this because it's hard to talk about. And that's why I wrote it down, because it's hard to talk about. This is to all the people in my life who were afraid to ask. I get it. Depression, especially my special breed of it, it's ugly, it's unsightly. You only want to look away. Maybe if I don't acknowledge it, it will go away. Only mine didn't. I woke up alone. The room was cold, despite the warm day outside. The skin under my eyes is sore. It's red. It's peeling. The skin, it was here and here. I don't have pictures because I didn't have my phone at the time. Um, the skin has never been this sore in my whole life. It's never hurt this much. I've also never cried this much in my life either. I got up, not because I am well rested, but because of an intense pain on my chest. Time to pump. I walk down the hall, and there's a huge banner of an LED clock at the end of it. It's only 7:26. Breakfast isn't for almost another 2 hours, and I'm starving. I walk down the long hall to the nurse's station and tell the nurse, hey, I need to pump. We'll be changing shifts shortly. You can wait. I'm in a lot of pain, I tell her. I haven't pumped for over 4 hours. The nurse responds with a long list of things that she needs to do, charts and this and that and yada yada and blah blah blah. That's all I hear. That's all I hear over the pain. Little did I know at the time, she was not about to change shifts. She was lying. Shifts wouldn't change for another 3 hours. And since that time is pretty hectic, they would not be able to help me for another hour after that. I bugged them every 30 minutes for 4 hours before I eventually was able to pump, meaning that I did not pump for 8 hours. My baby was 5 months old, exclusively breastfeeding. So that was incredibly painful. Anyway, back to this timeline. The nurses here have dictator-like power. There's no recourse if you can't get what you need from them, at least not until you see the psychiatrist. Only I've been here for 2 days, almost 2 days, and I haven't seen him yet. I need to tell him about the nurses. I'm going to get mastitis like this. So I walk away from the nurses' station and say to myself, I guess I'll just work on my anxiety workbook until breakfast. Breakfast eventually comes around 9 a.m. I wait in line for my pre-portioned plate. Once I got it, Amanda, April, and America were all sitting together, with smiling faces and laughter about jokes I'm not in on yet. They wave me over. The nurses here might rule with an iron fist, but all the patients here are the kindest crop of humanity that I have ever met. They welcomed me with open arms from night one. These are good folks here. They're the one and only bright spot that I see from my time here. Breakfast passes, and it's time for the meds. Mine make me sleepy, but one of the many twisted things about this place is, if you don't play the game, you don't get to leave. Which is all my thoughts drift to, wanting to leave. No, I can't go down that rabbit hole right now. It's time for group therapy. Group therapy came and went. Alone time came and went. Lunch came, and the only notable thing there was that we had to eat a very dense and hard meatloaf with only spoons as utensils, which was a topic for conversation among all of us patients and tickled each and every one of us very thoroughly. I had double helpings at both breakfast and lunch, but soon thereafter got in trouble for not eating enough. The nurses really just saw my second plate half empty and thought I wasn't eating half of my meals, which also stung, because another thing to know about this place is if you're not eating, then they will record that. And if they record that you're not eating, you do not get to go home. Anyway, back to the point. I still hadn't pumped. I went from 4 a.m. and now it was noon, and I still hadn't pumped. I woke up from being in pain just shy of 7:30 in the morning. And after bugging the nurses every 30 minutes for almost 5 hours, they had not found the time to let me pump. Lunch ended around 12:30, so I went back to the nurses' station, and finally, they say they will allow me to pump. I praise the Lord. I'm so pleased. That is until I see what they're doing. They're setting up a little two-sided sheet with a metal frame to hold it up. They've taken a chair from the dining room and placed it by the nursing station out in the open. You see, the previous night and day that I'd spent here, there were different nurses on hand, and they would take me to a back room to pump. So I had privacy, and it was fine. Now I realize I'm expected to pump in front of the whole nurses' station, with one half of my angles exposed to the whole world. Anyone in this establishment could have easily walked around this sheet and had a peek at me. And again, I loved the people that I was with here, but I didn't know them that well, and this was much more stressful than taking me back to the back room. Now, I feel like I should add this detail. I wasn't allowed to have my pump because it has a cord, and I'm in a psychiatric ward. So, you're not allowed to have anything with cords. I tried to speak up for myself, but the head nurse just said over and over again, she's too busy for anything else to happen. I mentioned how the other nurses had made it work, and that didn't change a single thing. So I sat in my corner made of sheets, with clogged ducts from going so long without pumping, and feeling so much pain. I could feel my pulse in my ears. And I pumped, and I cried. Silent, fierce, unstoppable tears. I cried the entire 20 minutes that I pumped. Pumping was already too much for me. It was a stark reminder that I was here, locked away, unable to see or touch or hold my precious little baby, unable to nurse her to sleep, to see her smile, to hear her laugh. Ever since my baby had existed until now, I had never been away from her. I had never slept more than 2 feet away from her. I had never gone more than a couple of hours without holding her. And now the separation was made just that much more unbearable.